What's up everybody? Welcome back. So in today's video, we're going to be trying out a really spicy triple dark team in the Great League. Now this is a part of the triple same type challenge series which I started on this channel a couple of days ago. I've already tried out the triple water team and I'm going to be trying it out with all 18 types of Pokemon by the time the season ends in the Great League hopefully. And I'll link a playlist to that in the description below. But the way this challenge works is that I'm going to be using 3 Pokemon of the same type. The subtypings can obviously differ, but I need to have a positive set with it, right? So I'm going to give myself 2 sets, and if I can't go positive in both those sets, it means that that team is not very solid. And I'm going to be changing it up a little bit because ideally I want to build more consistent and reliable teams for the longer run so that it be a more fair showcase. And like I mentioned, in today's video, I'm going to be trying out the triple dark team consisting of Mandibuzz, Shiftry and Alolan Muk. And honestly, this team doesn't really have any common weakness. Because of that poison typing in Alolan Muk, it provides protection against all of dark types weaknesses. And of course, you have the flying subtyping on Mandibuzz, which provides protection against bug types and fighters, which otherwise dark types would struggle against, right? And of course, Shiftry is going to be able to handle Azumarill and other water types as well. So this team has pretty solid balance and coverage against majority of the meta. Charmers can be a bit of an issue because Alolan Muk is basically your only answer to it. But then again, every team has a weakness, right? So let's just get straight into these battles. Okay, moving on to the first battle here. I'm going to be leading with Mandibuzz with Alolan Muk and Shiftry in the back. And also I'm going to be running Bullet Seed as the fast move on Shiftry. So we have Mandibuzz into a Swampert. This is actually a pretty positive matchup for us because those mud shots are double resisted. And Hydro Cannon isn't going to do that much damage because again, Mandibuzz is extremely tanky, right? It's going to take like 3 or probably even 4 Hydro Cannons to get rid of a Mandibuzz. But they make a switch into their Umbreon. I'm going to stay in, right? Because there's no reason for me to switch out because we have a Shiftry in the back which can handle the Swampert. So I'm just going to spam these aerial aces here and try and go for another one right now. Obviously, this is a contest between 2 extremely tanky dark type Pokemon. So they're probably building up to a last resort because they would want to go for that because Foul Play or Dark Pulse would be resisted in this matchup. Charge Move coming through is probably going to be a last resort, which is going to do okay neutral damage, but they're probably going to need another one. So I'm actually going to switch into my Alolan Muk here and hopefully I can get to a Sludge Wave in time, but they're able to get to a Charge Move. This is going to be last resort, it's fine, we can let it go through. It does okay damage there, but we should be able to get to a Sludge Wave here. Now this is going to do massive neutral damage to the Umbreon, but it's not going to take it out, right? Again, because Umbreon is extremely tanky as well, but it's going to put it into Dark Pulse range, which is good. And another charge move coming through. It's going to be another last resort, which is going to put my Alolan Muk pretty low. But we should be able to get to a Dark Pulse in time, right? So I'm going to try and go for the Dark Pulse here. And I'm hoping they let it go through because I really want to win Switch advantage to make sure that I can line up my Shiftry against their Swampert. They do let that go through, which is fantastic. They come in with Defense Deoxys. Now, this is not great for us, right? Because Defense Deoxys with counter can do super effective damage against Shiftry. So I'm going to come in with Mandibuzz and go for the Foul Play here. And let's see if this gets the shield. They let it go through, which is fantastic. And I'm going to shield, right? Because both Rock Slide and Thunderbolt would be super effective in this matchup. And like I said, I don't want my Shiftry to go up against this Defense Deoxys. So I'm going to go for the Foul Play again here. This is probably going to get the final shield from the Deoxys because it would probably come close to taking it out if it goes unshielded. Now they make a switch into their Swampert. I'm going to immediately go to my Shiftry here and then go for the Leaf Blade as soon as possible. Now this is going to one-shot the Swampert. If it goes unshielded, let's see what they decide to do here. They do shield that, which is understandable. And I'm going to shield this up, right? Because I don't want to get hit by a Sludge Wave. And even if they bait with Hydro Cannon, they're not going to be able to get to a Sludge Wave, right? We should be able to get to a Leaf Blade before they can get to a Sludge Wave here. But they go for another Charge Move. This is just going to be a Hydro Cannon because it was too soon to be Sludge Wave. And at this point, I can probably just overfarm by like 1 Bullet Seed and then go for the Leaf Blade here. This Leaf Blade is going to take out the Swampert. And yeah, hopefully I can get to a Leaf Blade on the Defense Deoxys. It's going to be a race to the Charge Move, and luckily I'm able to get to a Leaf Blade just in time. Their Foul Plays up stay super effective, but Leaf Blade is going to do enough neutral damage to take out the Deoxys there. So that was extremely close. I mean, if they'd countered down the Shiftry, then they could have probably thrown a Thunderbolt or a Rock Slide on my Mandibuzz, and that would have been GG. But luckily we were able to sort of take it out there. So anyways, moving into the second battle here. We have Mandibuzz into a Hypno. Now, this is fantastic. Hypno basically has no play against this team comp. I mean, yes, it has access to Thunder Punch and Ice Punch, which would hit for super effective in this matchup. But again, Mandibuzz is extremely tanky, right? Also, those confusions are double resisted. So we don't really have to shield any of those moves. They do let the Foul Play go through. That does massive super effective damage there. And I'm going to let this go through, right? It's fine. Like I said, even though Thunder Punch is super effective, it doesn't really do that much damage. And I'm going to overfarm a little bit and then throw the Foul Play just before they can get to a Thunder Punch. Let's see if they want to shield this. They do let that go through, which is fantastic. And they actually come in with Drift Blimp. Now this really tells me that whatever is in the back is either weak to Dark or it's probably weak to Flying. So they either have a fire or a grass type, or probably another ghost or a psychic type in the back, which is good, right? So I'm actually going to let it go through. Ice Event is going to be super effective in this matchup, but then again, Mandibuzz is extremely tanky, like you can see. We do survive that. I'm going to be able to get to the foul play here. Now, even though this is debuffed, it's still going to do quite a bit of super effective damage in this matchup. They do shield that, and they're trying to farm us down, but you cannot farm a Mandibuzz down with ghost type moves, right? We're able to get to another foul play here, and this is again gonna, like I said, it's gonna do about 50 to 60% of Drifblim's health as it does there, and they're going to be able to farm us down, which is fine. So I'm going to come in with Alolan Muk, and hopefully I can snarl it down. But the unfortunate thing about the situation is that they have so much loaded energy, right? So they're going to be able to spam these ice events here, and then they're going to go for the second ice event. They can probably get to another ice event before we can get to a Dark Pulse. So I'm really trying to get to a Dark Pulse as soon as possible here, but they're able to get to another ice event. Now I'm going to have to shield this because I don't really know what's in the back, and I want to preserve my Alolan Muk. They have a Shadow Machamp in the back. So I'm just going to go for the Sludge Wave here. Now, even though the Sludge Wave is triple debuff, it's still going to do quite a bit of damage to this Shadow Machamp and put it into Leaf Blade range, right? Now, that's really important because we're taking so much damage from counters in this matchup. So I'm going to shield this up, and hopefully Shiftry can get to a Leaf Blade in time. And yeah, I'm able to get to a Leaf Blade just in time here. It's going to take out the Shadow Machamp, and hopefully Shiftry can deal with the Drifblim as well. So it's going to take it out there, and hopefully it can go down to Bullet Seed. And yes, the health on the Drifblim is very low, and a couple of Bullet Seeds pretty much took it out there. So very, very close. I mean, Shadow Machamp in the back can be a bit of an issue because Shiftry has a pretty terrible matchup against it. But luckily, we were able to land the Sludge Wave there, and sort of we were able to take it from that point. And as you can see, Mandibuzz really putting in work. It got 2 shields and also got rid of almost 2 full health Pokemon as well. So we have Mandibuzz into a Toxicroak. Fantastic, right? Now, you definitely want to catch Toxicroak on the lead because the backline really struggles against Toxicroak, right? Toxicroak completely walls both Alolan Muk and Shiftry, but obviously Mandibuzz is a pretty positive matchup against it because we have Aerial Ace, and this is too soon to be Sludge Bomb, so I'm going to let it go through. It's just a Mud Bomb, which is double resisted, does almost nothing to Mandibuzz. So I'm going to try and go for another Aerial Ace here. This is again going to do about 50 to 60% of Toxicroak's health if it goes unshielded, as it does there. And yeah, at this point, they're probably going to go for the Sludge Bomb. Yes, they have enough energy for a Sludge Bomb right now, so I'm going to have to shield this because I want to rely on my Mandibuzz to get rid of this Toxicroak. And now I can overfarm, right? I can overfarm up to 2 Aerial Aces and go for the first one here. This is probably going to take out the Toxicroak or get their final shield. Does take it out, which is fantastic. And they actually come in with Poliwrath. Now, this is fantastic. We have Aerial Ace again, which is going to be super effective because of that fighting typing. And again, their Mud Shots are double resisted, right? Because of the flying typing. I should be able to get to another one here, but unfortunately, they're able to get to an Ice Punch. So I'm going to shield this. I'm going to shield this and put massive pressure on the final shield on this Poliwrath because I want to get that final shield so that I can come in with Shiftry and then land a Leaf Blade to take it out. So I'm going to go for the Aerial Ace here, and then they're going to have to throw a charge move, right? Because those Mud Shots are doing no damage. And there's going to be an Ice Punch, which is going to take out my Mandibuzz. But I'm going to come in with Shiftry, and hopefully I can get to a Leaf Blade in time. So I'm going to come in with Shiftry here. But they make a switch into their Skarmory. I'm going to immediately go into my Alolan Muk. Now, this is again a little bit of a tricky situation. So hopefully I can land 2 Dark Pulses before a charge move can come through. I think they're probably going to go for a Brave Bird right now because Sky Attack would probably not take us out from this range. So they did overfarm quite a bit. This could be probably a Brave Bird. But they go for Flash Cannon, which is very interesting, right? That still does so much damage there. Unfortunately, we're not able to get to a Dark Pulse. That's really unfortunate. So I'm going to actually come into Shiftry and then overfarm a little bit and then throw the Foul Play here because I need that extra energy to throw a Leaf Blade on the Poliwrath, right? Because I know that Poliwrath is pretty close to a move. But luckily, Foul Play takes it out and we have a Leaf Blade ready to go. Immediately going to go for it against this Poliwrath. This is obviously super effective. It's going to take out the Poliwrath there. So that was extremely close. I think that Poliwrath was probably 1 Mud Shot away from an Ice Punch or something. So which is exactly why I had to overfarm that Skarmory matchup there. So, I mean, we were in a little bit of trouble. I mean, if I had landed the Dark Pulse on the Skarmory, then it would have been a lot more straightforward. But luckily, we were able to pull through there. So, anyways, moving into the 4th battle, we are 3-0 in the set right now. We have Mandibuzz into a Cradily, right? So this is a pretty neutral matchup. Obviously, Cradily, because of the rock and grass typing, is going to take neutral damage from the flying moves. So I might as well just go for Foul Play because both of them are neutral, and obviously Foul Play has Stab and is a better move. And I'm assuming that they're going to try and go for the Stone Edge. So I'm actually going to switch into my Alolan Muk to catch the Stone Edge, right? It's going to do massive neutral damage in this matchup, but then I think it would have come close to one-shotting a Mandibuzz. But they come in with Jirachi. Now, this is really good for us, right? Jirachi, again, has almost no play against this team. So I'm just going to go for the Dark Pulse here and then does get the shield. So at this point, I'm actually tempted to shield because I can probably go for it in the Dark Pulse, but I'm actually going to let it go through because I don't want them to farm me down because I can just come in with Mandibuzz and take care of it, right? So I'm just going to wait out the switch clock here and then come in with my Mandibuzz and go for the Foul Play as soon as possible. This is again going to do massive super effective damage and it's going to come close to taking out the Jirachi. almost takes it out and puts it in Snarl farm down range, right? And they're going to get to a charge move here. Unfortunately, it's going to be just a Doom Desire, which is fine. We can easily survive that. Doesn't really do that much damage, and we should be able to farm down here. And let's see what they have in the back. They're probably going to come in with Cradily. This is fine. I'm going to be able to get to back-to-back foul plays here. So I'm going to go for the first one. It's going to put the Cradily pretty low, or Cradily, however you pronounce it. But I know this is just a grass type move, right? Because it was too soon to be a Stone Edge. It's just a grass knot, which is fantastic, which is resisted. I should be able to get to another foul play here. This is going to take out the Cradily if it goes unshielded. But I'm actually undercharging it because I want to overfarm a little bit because it ended up being a CMP tie there. But they have a Quagsire at the back and this is GG's, right? Quagsire, because of that water and ground typing, is double weak to grass, and we have a full health Shiftry with 2 shields in the back. So I'm just going to stay in this matchup and wait for them to throw their charge move. I definitely have to worry about a potential Sludge Bomb, but there's no way they can get to 3 Sludge Bombs before we can get to like 2 Leaf Blades, right? They go for the Stone Edge, which is fine. I'm going to come in with my Shiftry here and go for the Leaf Blade here. Even if this gets the shield, there's not a lot of play for them here. So I'm going to go for the Leaf Blade, and they actually let it go through because there's no way they were going to come back from that, right? So as you can see, this team is like working really well for me. Shiftry really putting in work towards endgame there, and we are 4-0 in the set right now. Let's move into the final battle. Let's hope that we can finish on a 5-0. We can finish with a 5-0 set, but it's going to be pretty tricky, right? So we have Mandibuzz into a Galvantula. Pretty terrible matchup that. So I'm immediately going to go into Shiftry here. They make a switch into their Pelipper, which is pretty interesting, right? So this is actually a pretty neutral matchup because we're taking super effective damage from those wing attacks, but we should be able to do massive neutral damage with these Leaf Blades, right? So I'm going to shield this. I know this is just a Weather Ball, which would be resisted, but because we're taking so much damage from those quick moves, I want to preserve the health of my Shiftry long enough to get the 2 Leaf Blades here. So I'm going to build up to 2 Leaf Blades and then go back to back here. So the first one's going to go through. Let's see if this gets the shield from the Pelipper. It does get the shield there. And at this point, I should be able to get to the next one, right? This is not going to one-shot it, obviously, because it's only neutral, but it's going to do about 60% of Pelipper's health, which is pretty significant. They're going to be able to farm us down, which is unfortunate. So I'm going to come in with my Mandibuzz here and then soak up this charge move. They're probably going to go for a Hurricane, which would do quite a bit of damage to the Mandibuzz. But again, Mandibuzz is tanky, right? It's going to be able to tank those moves. They come in with Galvantula here. So I'm going to switch into my Alolan Muk, and I'm hoping that I caught a Discharge and not a Lunge, because Lunge would lower our attack. Obviously, both would be neutral, but they go for Lunge, unfortunately. So now I'm forced to go for Sludge Wave because Dark Pearls would not do enough damage at this point because we are debuffed. Whereas Sludge Wave is obviously the harder hitting move. So it's going to probably one-shot the Galvantula from this range. And let's see what they have in the back. I'm really hoping that whatever they have in the back is weak to Alolan Muk, but unfortunately they have a Galarian Stunfisk. Now, Galarian Stunfisk is one of the hardest Pokemon to deal with once Shiftry goes down, because both Mandibuzz and Alolan Muk don't have great matchups against it, because Alolan Muk is taking super effective damage from those ground type moves, whereas Mandibuzz would take super effective damage from the Rock Slides, right? And they overfarm quite a bit there, so they probably have 2 Rock Slides back to back right now. I'm going to shield the first one, but they should be able to get off the next one. Yeah, and this is GG's at this point. So it's not going to take us out because, again, Mandibuzz is extremely tanky, but it's going to put it pretty low. But I'm going to go for the foul play here, and foul play is, yeah, it's going to take like 2 foul plays to get rid of Galarian Stunfisk, and we're going to get Mud Shot down before that. So pretty difficult situations there. I mean, every team has a weakness, but overall it's pretty positive, right? 4-1, I'll take it. So like I said, I mean, this team honestly worked really well for me. So I'll be doing similar challenges with all different types of Pokemon. So please stay tuned for that. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.